Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're watching from. Thank you so much for joining today. We've got so much to talk about. Really glad that you're here. And sorry I missed out on last week. I kind of lost my voice, and I was also in Puerto Vallarta, and the time change, and it was just one of those days. It was just destined not to happen. So apologies for those of you who tuned in and were waiting to see me talk about travel and show you the destinations. But I promise you we will cover everything today. So good morning to Bojangles. How are you? Good to hear from you. So let me talk about, okay, so this is what we've got today. So yeah, I mean, it's been a crazy couple of weeks, and just chock-a-block full of stuff going on. I got into Cancun Saturday. That was, I believe, the 5th of October. And it's been a pretty wild ride ever since then. Yeah, Cancun, LA, where else? Cabo, Mazatlan, Puerto Vallarta. It's, it's been a little bit nuts, but it's all good. It's all good. So let's go ahead and get started. So let's talk about Cancun. And so really great news. I think you've probably all seen the video that so initially, and this is something that's been in law for a long time, but they weren't enforcing it. Nobody knew about it. And it was that if you were traveling to Cancun, you were only allowed to have one computing device with you, be that a laptop or an iPad or tablet, only one device. I don't know about you, but I like watching my videos on an iPad. I don't really use it for much else, but that's my preference. And so I found that was a little bit disappointing. And yeah, it was kind of frustrating, and I really was tempted to bring both items, but only had to, I didn't want to risk it. And here's the thing, and I should say, if you're going to Cancun, they have dropped this rule. They dropped it as of last week. The governor basically came out and said, no, we're going to remove that restriction. However, that rule is still in place for everywhere else in Mexico. So whether you're going to Mexico City, Cabo for the weekend, Mazatlan, Puerto Vallarta, Manzanillo, you name it, if you're going with more than one computing device, even if you're landing at Tulum Airport, I'm told, this could be an issue. So just bear that in mind. Angelo, hey, Angelo, how are you? Yeah, yeah. I mean, excuse me, it was exhausting, and yeah, I do. Now I'm a little bit sick, but whatever. It was really great to see so many different places. It really is exhausting to be like up and go, 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 go. But it's great to see things firsthand. And I've got a few updates for you on all those properties, as well as some little insider info on a couple of others. So yeah, so with the whole arrivals thing, I did get pulled aside. Our flight left Vancouver. It didn't leave late. It just left late, if you know what I mean. We weren't delayed or anything. It was a 10 a.m. departure, which means to say on a 6-hour flight with the 3-hour time difference, I didn't land until like 6 p.m. And so got the bags right away. But then when I got in, yeah, they did pull me aside, had a quick cursory poke through my bags, and that was it. But I was glad, and thank you, Howard, for telling me what your experience was landing after flying in on WestJet from Western Canada, because he mentioned that they were searching all the bags, and sure enough, I mean, not everybody was getting pulled aside, and I think if you're going during a busier time, maybe this would be the case, but certainly I got pulled aside, so I was grateful that I didn't have to talk my way out of anything. But yeah, it's interesting. So if you are flying into, like I said, Puerto Vallarta or any of those places, I mean, we're into the crummy weather. And so, this is definitely something that more and more of us will be considering. So do bear that in mind. You're allowed to take 3 cell phones. I don't know why. And you can take, from what I've understood, a Kindle or a book reader. It's not a computing device, so that doesn't count. So you can still take your laptop or your iPad, but just be very cautious if you're going into any airport other than Cancun about taking both items. I have not heard of any enforcement in other places, but look, let's be honest, even if they did it for a couple of weeks and then all of a sudden they decide, no, that's not fair, we're not going to do it anymore. Think about how much revenue they could bring in during that amount of time. Is it annoying to the tourists? Yes, it is. But technically it is their importing rules. So are they allowed to do it? Yes. So, just bear that in mind. Angela says, oh, always gets pulled aside, single guy, 2 suitcases. Well, yeah, it's because you go for so long. Yeah. So yeah, that's just it. So there's I'm the type of person that doesn't normally get pulled aside, but if you are, you want to be following the rules. So, but like I say, great news that in Cancun now they have removed that restriction. So hopefully the rest of the country and the other states will follow suit. So we'll see on that. I've uploaded some video. Yeah, they are coming through. Good. I was worried they weren't uploading properly, but so I've got some little video clips to share with you today. Okay, moving on. So, Visitax enforcement. This is real, folks. Again, specifically for Cancun and the Quintana Roo area. So if you fly into Cozumel or if you fly into Tulum Airport, this is a tax that is a required tax. It's mandatory. Of course, you want to go through the proper websites to pay this. Travel, you can use it through Travelcore, but they charge more. It's the official company that the Cancun government has chosen to collect this tax. It's in Canada. Why they chose them, I don't know. There's a lot of things I don't understand about government decisions, so we'll just chalk it up to that. But you can also pay it through the Mexican website, which is visitax.gov.mx, and that is the direct site to pay it, and it is the lower priced option in terms of paying stuff, and they are checking. They're absolutely checking. Now, I didn't actually get checked for this on the way out. I was kind of busy texting as I was heading out and flying into LA and coordinating with 5 other people on our different flights for that day. So I was busy on my phone, so I wasn't really looking around. But in my group, there were several other people who said that on that trip and in the previous week or two that they had been stopped. And what they do is they're asking you right then and there to show proof of payment. Remember, it's tied to your passport. So if you have not got proof of payment, they're pulling you aside and making you pay it right there. So there's no penalties or fines at this point in time, but if you don't pay it ahead of time, you will pay it later on. So just bear that in mind. Oh, Angela's saying, going for a wedding, only got 1 case today. Oh, nice. Well, I hope you enjoy your wedding. That sounds like fun. Well, not your wedding, but the wedding you're going to. Yeah, so just bear that in mind for Visitax if you are traveling to Cancun this month or this season, that you are likely going to have to pay it if you haven't already done so. So just avoid the hassles at the airport. Thing is, security is always a big line. And there's always lots of people. There's always a bunch of people that have no idea what they're doing. And then there's also just the stress of being in an airport. So why add to that by having to all of a sudden be pulled aside and have to pay this extra fee? I mean, it just, to me, peace of mind, done and dusted, move on. Okay, so let's start talking about the hotels. So the first hotel that I stayed at, this was a precursor to the trip, the work trip that I was on. I had to fly in a day early because the events for the work trip were going to start sort of late afternoon on the Sunday. And so I had to fly in on the Saturday because Of course, landing at 6, it was like 7:30 by the time I got all my bags and got through and got the ride to the hotel. So that was a bit nuts. But it was fine. It gave me one night to sort of just relax, chill out. I've never stayed at Dream Sands before. I have toured it 2 or 3 times. No, more than that. It's a really nice hotel. It's Dreams, okay? So it's family friendly. It's the usual Dreams roundup, no wristband, free Wi-Fi, no reservations required for dinner. Of course, you can see through the Hyatt Inclusive Collection on the app, you can see what restaurants they have, the hours, dress code, and the menus, which I quite enjoy perusing. When I travel by myself, I'm not much of a sit-down full dinner kind of person. I just and I wasn't particularly hungry that night because I'd had a full meal on the plane. So I just went to the buffet, and I have done videos of the breakfast and dinner buffet, so I will be posting that, so stay tuned. Pretty interesting, different selections that they had. Excuse me. But the thing that impressed me most about this resort is the views and how stunningly gorgeous it is. Now, it was a tragedy that I arrived after dark, because I know from previous experience that you walk into the lobby and the first thing that you see is that panoramic view of the, let's call it the north side of the Cancun 7. So you've got Hyatt Ziva on the corner, and then just in from that, you've got the Rius, and then just in from that is Dream Sands. And it is on this gorgeous aqua blue spot of beach. It's crystal clear, and it is so shallow that they have hammocks in the water. They set up, they don't have pool volleyball, they have ocean volleyball. I enjoyed the evening. The next morning, I woke up early and I was doing photos and videos and stuff like that. And there were people everywhere doing photo shoots. I mean, this is not like official photo shoots. It was just like, your Instagram stuff, pics for home, whatever. But everybody was doing it. It was like everywhere I turned, it was like, somebody's posing or they're doing selfies. And they even have a big a sign where you can stand in front of it. And it's meant to be a selfie sign. And the vista behind you is just stunning. So I've got a little video clip. First thing I want to show you is the preferred club pool. And tell me if you think this is the most gorgeous pool you've ever seen or not. Let's see. Here we go. Yeah, pretty gorgeous, hey? And now, for those of you who aren't pool people, I'm going to show you the ocean. So here you go. Does that not make you feel like I want to be there right now? To me, it does. I mean, I don't have a lot of clips, unfortunately, for you today, but we can do a round 2 next week, and I can share more clips. But I'm also trying to hammer out my videos as quickly as I can. I'm way behind on that. Yeah. Yeah, I know, right? It looks great. The hotel itself, Dream Sands, is an older property. I mean, it was an oasis before it was a Dreams, and before that, I don't even know what it was. So it's not a new property, but it's pretty compact. Because it's an older property, some of the rooms don't have a balcony, which it didn't bother me for one night. If I was there longer, it would, because I really enjoy having a little quiet time sitting on the balcony, whether it's, catching up on emails and stuff like that, email, view, right? Or if it's just escaping from the sun for a little bit. But I enjoy having that beautiful ocean view. And I would say that almost without exception, every room at this property has a beautiful ocean view. So definitely one that's worth considering. Okay, so now let's talk. Oh, okay. Angelo, this is a hotel for you. I don't know if you stayed here before. I think you did. Let me know if you did or not. But Angelo, seriously, this hotel is right up your alley. From the minute you walk in the door, it is gadget, tech, I mean, there were times when I felt a little bit like old. It took me a while to figure out how to get in and out of the preferred club lounge, or at Breathless they call it Exhale Club. Same kind of concept. Um, you use your room key to tap in to allow you access into it, and then they have another knob on the other side which you just tap, and it releases the door so you can open the door and exit. Wow. It's, yanking on the door, and the guys who are working in and around the area, they're running over like, no, 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 don't break the door. But there was that. I mean, it was everything was just techie. Like you walk into the room and you can use your phone, you can program your phone as your key card for the door. You can use your phone as a remote control. You can hook up your phone's music via Bluetooth so you can play it in the bathroom while you're getting ready and have some tunes going on. There's buttons for mood lighting. There's buttons for turning all the lights on, all the lights off. There was a shower curtain button that helped it to open up or close. I could go on and on and on. It was crazy, but it was actually a surprising resort. It is a high-rise style, and it's a little bit more active. I would say out of every hotel that I've been to since COVID, the Breathless was the most active. And for all the people who watched all my other videos and said, "Oh, these resorts are boring, there's no party going on," and stuff like that, go to Breathless, because seriously, it was uh, oh, just oh, okay. Yeah, so I'm curious, like, what did you think of it? I thought it was great. It was really I loved the tech part of it. Loved the view, because it's also on that same side of the 7 at the top. So you've just got that beautiful view, but it's a little bit more active. So if you want a more laid back, relaxed, rejuvenate, re-energize, that's probably not the place for you, because it's a little bit more busy. The other girls at the hotel ended up catching COVID and couldn't fly back. Had to stay though. Oh, shame. Yeah, well, I mean, those were the days, right? Where you kind of had to take your chances if you were traveling. But oh, I'll tell you, it was just so nice to get out of the country for a change. But yeah, that was just amazing. I thought that resort was absolutely wild. Do I have a clip of that one? Oh, I do. Okay, so this shows you from the pool area. No, pool area by the beach. Just a little clip for you. So yeah, again, very crystal clear waters, very shallow. This was about the day before they were ready to evacuate us for Milton. So it was interesting. We didn't have a whole lot of time there, unfortunately. It was supposed to be 2 nights, but um, to the party pool. Yeah. So the party pool, that's the accelerate pool. So they've got one pool on the ground floor, and great pizza place right there, by the way. And then on the next upper building, there's 2 towers, and on the lower tower is where the party pool is. And like they have go-go dancers and a DJ. So it's like I said, it's busy, it's happening. And then on the main tower at the top is the Exhale Club pool, or preferred club pool. And up here, they've got a bar, there's a restaurant, and an infinity pool. So you're actually overlooking the ocean, and you can see Isla Mujeres is like right there. You can see it. It's like, I'd say maybe 5 kilometers across. So what's that, like 4 miles or something, give or take? So yeah. Did I go to the nightclub? No. I don't even know where that was. Oh, I think that was down lower. No. No, I did not. Um, no, I knew it was gonna be 3 hard days of work, and, so no. We did go, we had a private event the first night and had some food. It was amazing, and that was at the rooftop. And then the next day, we kind of were hanging out. We had dinner at the, the hibachi, the teppanyaki tables where they, where they're flipping the eggs into their hat and they're making the flame towers and stuff like that. It was delicious food, way too much food. Well, you know me. But like huge portions. And I asked for a very small portion, so that was cool. Another fellow at the end of the table, he had 2 full plates, so it worked out perfectly. You could have as much or as little as you wanted. It was absolutely delicious. And then, of course, after that, they evacuated us. They didn't need to, but to be safe, they actually drove us down from right from Cancun down to Tulum. So that was an experience in itself. And you know what? The whole time, like, we didn't know what was happening with the storm. It was with the hurricane. It was coming. It was going to come to the top of the Yucatan Peninsula, and it did actually start dipping towards Merida. So that's when all of a sudden plans started changing. And the group we were with, they were really great about keeping us organized, keeping us safe. We were meant to go to Secrets Playa Blanca, which is north of Cancun. So we were meant to go there the next day, but that was potentially where the storm was going to hit. And what they do during a hurricane, in case you don't know, is first off, they take all the furniture and decor off of the balconies. So at one point in the day, I came up to my room and all the patio furniture was in the room. So it's like, oh, okay. So they're actually, prepping for this. Because even if the storm doesn't directly hit, you're still going to probably have some pretty fierce winds, some pretty nasty rain. And so, you may as well be precautionary on that sort of stuff. They were removing all the loungers from the beach area, the umbrellas, putting all of that into storage. And then what happens is when the storm gets worse, what they'll do is they'll basically either say you have to stay in your room and they'll only do room service, or they might have one restaurant open. So it is restricted. And the reason for that is just to keep everybody safe. And beyond that, it's to ensure that they only have the minimum needed personnel at the resort. So, everybody that we came across, it was like, they're running around helping us out. Are you okay? Do you need anything? Da, 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 da. And we're like, yeah, I'm fine. How are you? How's your family? Where's your family located? And everybody we spoke to, it was really lucky. They were all located south. So they weren't concerned. They weren't worried. But you just never know with a storm, especially with that one, as volatile as it was. I mean, they were telling us, like, we were all on our phones the whole day long checking it. And it was like, oh my God, this is the strongest hurricane on record. At one point they said if there was a hurricane level 6, category 6, it would have been one. It grew with such intensity and so quickly that then the problem was, what's it going to do? And like I said, it could have gone further south, and it could have been a direct hit on Cancun, and that would have been pretty catastrophic. They did evacuate Holbox, which is a small island north of Cancun in the Yucatan Peninsula. And I'm sure other communities were evacuated as well. But in the end, it sounded like there was very little damage to Merida, where it did come very close. And then fortunately, it started going up north again. So we were able to avoid it. Unfortunately for the people in Florida, of which out of 8 agents that were invited on this trip, there were, I think half of them were from Florida, plus some of the staff who were running the trip. They were also from Florida, and some of them were in the direct path. So it was pretty horrific watching the stress of all of that for them. That was just terrible. I mean, here we worry about earthquakes here in Vancouver, Canada. Earthquakes are a thing, but hurricanes are not. So, and that's a whole different ballgame. So it was interesting and pretty sad and a while just to watch that whole thing transpire. So anyways, like I said, they drove us down to Dreams Tulum. Initially, we were going to stay, we were told we were going to stay at Secrets Tulum, and I thought, ooh, somewhere new. Okay. And in the end, they had evacuated a lot of the staff to stay at Secrets Tulum. So this gives you an indication of what kind of company this is. They're not basically saying, hey, come and we'll put you up in the basement, like we'll give you a cot to sleep on. They were putting them in guest rooms so that they could be safe and secure. You know, what am I going to say? I've been to Dreams Tulum before. It's an older property. They've expanded it quite a bit. Now, if this is the ocean and this is the beach, it's built this way away from the beach. Now, I prefer a resort that's built this way along the beach, but you know, you go with what you've got. Like I said, it's an older property. What I find quite charming about it is it's very colonial Mexican style. Let me see what other videos I'm missing here. Oh, that's Vivid. I've got Vivid coming up. Okay. So yeah, it's an older property, but it's quaint, and they've kept that Mexican feel to it. Like it's got cobblestone pathways. There's even got a Catholic church. If you want to get married there, you can get married in a church. You can have an authentic, a legal Catholic wedding in Mexico at that property. The gardens are amazing. They've even got, for the spa, you can go and they have a like a mixology thing where you can mix your own spa treatments, and then you can have those used on you for your spa treatments, or you can just take them home. And they've got a temazcal thing, you know, where you can do the Mayan ritual kind of thing. And it's just south of Akumal. So of course, you know, the beaches there are beautiful. It was very, very windy because that was sort of the tail of the storm. So, you know, that part was kind of made it not great for videoing, stuff like that. But I do have a bunch of videos, which again, still putting all that together. I have so much material from this trip. It's nuts. Yeah, I really like that property. And I ended up in a preferred club oceanfront room, which was literally steps to the pool, and from the pool, steps to the ocean. So, I mean, it was, you know, you really couldn't have asked for a better room. But like I said, you know, it's just an older property. So if you don't mind it being older and family friendly, you know, it's a beautiful, beautiful resort. And they had Cafe de Olla, which, you know, was my favorite. So yeah, that was a really good experience. And then during that time that we were there, we also got to go and see Secrets Tulum. Now, this is quite an interesting one because it's not on the beach. They do have a beach club, and it's very different than the beach club at Hyatt Vivid. But so let's talk Secrets Tulum itself. The resort is inland. Realistically, again, probably about 5 kilometers or 4 miles from the actual beach, from the ocean inland. But what they've done is they've created this kind of relaxing, tranquil sort of jungle atmosphere to it, where, you know, you're surrounded by the jungle and the mangroves and stuff like that. They've got beautiful pools everywhere. It's sort of like 3 sections to the resort. The rooms are very, very Mayan, not Mayan, but traditional Tulum themed. So they've used a lot of local artisan crafts for the decor in the rooms. And yeah, really, really interesting setup. And then on the rooftop, they've got another pool as well as a couple of restaurants. So you can imagine the sunset views from up there would be absolutely stunning. We did go over to the beach club. Now, I don't know if you've been to Tulum before. Let me know if you have. But you'll understand when I say the beach club was maybe a couple of miles away from, no, not even, maybe a mile away from it's on the water, right? So if I'm saying it was 4 miles from the water to the resort, then it would be, say, 3 miles to the beach club, and you know, the grounds there. And that's about a 30-minute drive. You might think, couldn't you just walk it? It's a bit too far to walk, although I would probably give it a go. But the roads in Tulum, especially if it has rained, which it had, were very, there, you know, lots of puddles and lots of divots in the roads. So it's really like you're using the whole road when you drive in Tulum. And it's sort of along the path where all of the beachfront properties are, which are very eco-friendly, very boho chic. A lot of them. Many of the resorts in Tulum only have power for a couple hours a day, if at all. Some of them don't even have air conditioning. Some of them don't even have windows. They have not windows like glass windows. They have, maybe bug screens, but that's it. Otherwise, it's open air. So, it's that kind of style. And we roll up to the beach club. And the first thing we looked at was a 5-bedroom villa that you can rent out. Comes with a butler, comes with a chef, and they'll cook all your meals. And I mean, this is all, the resort's all inclusive anyways, but if you're there as a part of a group and you've got the 5 bedrooms, then, and this would sleep a maximum capacity of 10, by the way, if you're interested. But it just gives you that extra ability to have private space. They have their own plunge pools and stuff like that. And there's, of course, a beautiful rooftop pool area. And, I mean, it's ultimate luxury. That's for darn sure. But lots of living area in there. But, this is probably not for your everyday person. So for the rest of us, there are also regular rooms. And I just yesterday uploaded videos you can see, and they're very short videos, and they're not my usual style of really showing you the full room, because we were there with the group, and it was, very difficult even with the small number of people that we had. But at least it gives you an idea of what the rooms look like and the decor and stuff like that. But the beach club was very, very chill, very quiet. They did have activities and stuff like that. But I would say Secrets Tulum is really a resort for more of a quiet, laid back, relaxed, like even more so than Hyatt Vivid. It's really, just that quiet. It's very Tulum, in my opinion. It's everything that you would expect from Tulum, which is just very, eco-friendly, very conscious and aware of the Mexican culture and history and stuff like that. So it just kind of embodied all of it. So that was a surprising resort. I really enjoyed it. Only there for a little while, a couple of hours, but it was really interesting to see. The food was so good. Okay, let's move on. Hyatt Vivid. Okay. So yeah, it was interesting going there. We did go there earlier in the week, and they were actually prepping for the storm. That was really interesting. Angelo, you've been there before. I don't know who else on here has been to Hyatt Vivid, but if you've been there, you'll recall that when you walk in, the first entryway, it's all open air. Then you walk along past the pool, all open air. Then you got the area where you can go into the Vantage Club, or you can go into the lobby, but that's all open air until you get inside. And what they were doing is they'd actually dug holes in the cement, and they'd screwed in hooks that were, well, about this size. So, about the size of, for your phone, right? And the hooks were about that size, and they had these large tarps, and they were screwed in. So they were all over the place to keep it calmer for the guests, so the winds weren't whipping through as they might have done. So that was really interesting earlier in the week. Went and saw the beach club, and that was pretty much it. And then we had to wrap up, because then we were heading back to, where did we go from there? Oh, then we went back to Breathless, had our dinner, and then trucked out to Dreams Tulum. So it was kind of a quick trip. Christine, 50 days. Nice. You must be so excited. And then well, Saul is saying, hi, baby, looking forward to it. Going there soon. Yes, definitely do the Visitax. Just avoid the hassle, the stress. Just get it done. But Hyatt Vivid. Okay, so what's changed? So the Vantage Club breakfast a la carte, that was open. So there's only a few people in there. But I did try it the one morning and it was really good. So I've got a whole, me and my food. So I did a video of all the food that I had while I was there. It was really good. It was interesting because so many people recognized me from previously doing videos and stuff like that. And out of them, I mean, there was probably 6 couples. The 7th couple was the only one who were like, not really our style. And that's totally fine. Like, that resort is not for everybody. All the other couples were having a great time. But also, I think a lot of them really appreciated how I'd given them the information, so they knew what to expect. They knew not to expect, marble and glitzy furnishings and, soft carpets and stuff like that. It's just not the style of that property. So they chose to go knowing what to expect, and I think consequently had a good time. Hey, Deb. Going in February. Very nice. Yeah, I'm hoping to go back. So not sure when, but maybe January, maybe February. Maybe I'll see you there. What else has changed? They have food up on the rooftop. I don't know if any of you guys tuned into the live while I was there, but that's another change. The shuttle to the beach club opens at 9 now, which I wanted to get there right. It was open. And so it was like, oh, this is my sleeping day. Yay. And then they're like, no, it opens at 9. Ah, rats. So, but I just took an Uber over there because I wanted to get there before everybody came in on the bus. And the bus now goes 3 times a day. 3 times an hour. And you can hop on. I think you can make reservations. If not, you just basically go and get your bracelet for the beach club. Color changes every day so they can keep the riffraff out. And then you just go to the lobby area, the motor car area, and that's where you wait for the bus. And the bus comes and you get on, and that's it. And if not, if it's too full, then you wait 20 minutes and you get the next one. Yeah, it's always great to see people and I finally, see them in person and also to hear what they think compared to, all my ramblings. So yeah, it's pretty cool. But yeah, the beach club was great. I didn't stick around to have food there because I wanted to get back to the property, to the main resort. But yeah, it would look the same as it has before. No real changes to that. Let's talk about the construction. So there's construction going on next door. It is unfortunately going to be a hotel, and they're at the somewhat early stages of construction. So this is going to be an issue for a while. But when we were there earlier in the week on the Monday, I think it was, they were doing the construction. They had the music going and you could hardly hear it. Now, there's probably other areas like down as you go down the steps, because it's a tiered sort of from the main resort, main beach club area. You go down some steps, there's another area with 16 chairs. Go down some more steps, another 16 chairs. Down some steps, another 16 chairs. And so from down there might be less music, so you might hear it a little bit more. But most people who are going down there, they're going to swim in the ocean anyways. So is it an issue? Nothing's still going on the other side other than about 1,000 iguanas. So that's kind of a neat thing to see. So that was the beach club. And what else? I don't know. The rooms were great. I was still on the ocean side, but I was at the opposite side of the building this time. So a little bit slightly different view. And I've already posted that video. And a lot of the same staff, but also a lot of new staff. So obviously when a resort first opens, the resorts really got to, the staff really have to prove that they're, the right caliber and stuff like that. So they've obviously done some staff changes and stuff like that over the last few months. But I did see, Juan was one of the guys who was there. He was previously up at the rooftop bar when I was there, and Angela was there. And so he was one of the servers down by the taco truck and the ceviche truck. So chatted with him a bit. And then also, I forget his name now, Jonathan. at the he worked in the Mediterranean restaurant, and so chatted with him a couple of times, and then he also was my server for at the Italian restaurant the one night. So I got to have my cacio e pepe, fabulous. So yeah, it was just a really good time. So yeah, I no qualms about Hyatt Vivid. I did do a couple of activities. They have a new class. It's called gastrobotany. So for those of you who know, and those of you who don't know, at Hyatt Vivid, they have a garden area. So there's the pool deck, and then there's the lounger deck, and then there's a raised deck where they've got more loungers and cabanas and stuff like that. Below this, because it's all in stilts, below this, they've got a garden area where they're growing herbs and tomatoes, I think cucumbers, and I forget what else. If you go to the Hyatt Vivid site, you'll probably find a reel for this, or a story. Well, it wouldn't be a story because it'd be gone by now. But I know that they did a video of it, and so you might be able to see that. Let me just pull up something just to see. Sorry, just looking at my email for a quick second. Yeah, Christian took the video, so you might still be able to see that. But it shows you what the garden area looks like and some of the different things that they're growing down there. But it was a really cool class. We got to make a salad, a really simple salad, and it was just a really interesting way to see. You know, it's like doesn't get much more farm to table than the garden 5 feet away from you, right? So very fresh, and you would also see occasionally some of the restaurant staff walking by with a bowl full of, like, you know, fresh mints and mint and cilantro and stuff like that they just collected from the garden. So very, very, very fresh. Okay, so moving on to the next one. Oh, so let's talk. Oh, wait. Gotta go back to Hyatt Vivid. I'm gonna show you this. So here's the. Okay, so I'll just show you this real quick. Yeah, so that was from the hotel lobby. Here's another picture of it, because I wasn't sure if that was going to come through. But yeah, you can see the beautiful, beautiful sunset view from that property. Really stunning at night, and pretty nice during the day too. Okay, so where were we at? Hyatt Vivid. Okay, so now let's talk about Discovery Princess. So yeah, so did not a repositioning cruise, but a Mexican Riviera Cruise on the Discovery Princess. And this was from LA down to Cabo San Lucas, Mazatlan, and then Puerto Vallarta. A day at sea on the way down to Cabo, and then after Puerto Vallarta had 2 days at sea. I felt like it was a smaller ship. It's a newer ship. It's only a couple of years old, but it just felt very, very full. And here's the thing. This was their first sailing from into Mexico. So when these cruise ships do their different routes, so it had finished doing the Alaska run. Some of the staff will finish their contracts then. Then they'll do a repositioning cruise to get to the next place where they're moving to. So from Vancouver, it moved down to LA. And over the course of 2 weeks, it had done some, you know, LA, Catalina Island, Ensenada runs. And then when for our cruise, ours was the first cruise of the year, of the season, from LA down to Cabo, Mazatlan, Puerto Vallarta. And so, you know, in that instance, you're sometimes going to have newer staff, or not always new staff, but new people who are coming in on a new contract, and they're working with existing staff. So look, it sometimes takes a little while for everything to groove, right? So there was 6 of us in the group, and I kept reminding them, this is no different than a new resort when it first opens. Everybody, like, even just behind the bar, from one bartender doing their thing to the other person, and how they move around each other in those confined spaces. It's a bit of a dance, and it takes a bit of time to understand each other's moves and how they're going to do things and stuff like that. So it wasn't the smoothest cruise. I would always choose I would choose to cruise Princess again, absolutely. I really enjoy cruising on Princess, and I didn't bring it with me, but the medallion is what they use. It's like a little air tag, Apple air tag. You approach your door and it unlocks because it senses the air tag, so it automatically unlocks it. So your cabin door, all you have to do is twist the handle and you're in. Also, if you go to buy a drink, you use your Apple AirTag for everything. So that was pretty cool. You can also use this in the shops. You can also use it in the casino. And also, speaking of the shops, they had crazy sales on all the time. And not just in not just jewelry, like costume jewelry and stuff like that, but they also had discounts on, designer perfumes and stuff like that. So, and clothing. So, it was interesting, and it kind of got you in the like, whoa, what's happening today? Kind of mode. So yeah, overall, it was a really good cruise. It was really interesting to cruise into those destinations, whereas I've only flown into them before. And also to have that restriction of, okay, you're in Cabo at 1:00, you've got a tender, as you know, into Cabo, but then you've got to be back on the ship by 8 p.m. So having that kind of like, oh, what time is it? Oh, what time is it? That was different. But also it was a really good chance to show people a little bit of what it was like. Okay, so I'm going to skip one. I'm going to talk about visiting the ports for a second. And then we'll go back to talking about the drink package. So like I said, going into Cabo was fine. That's a tender. Mazatlan and Puerto Vallarta are walk on, walk off. So you can literally walk off Puerto Vallarta, go to the Walmart, buy some snacks or whatever, and then walk back on the ship. Easy peasy pop so easy. Mazatlan, I didn't realize where the cruise port was. It's in the middle of a working container dock or container terminal. So, so I think it was a Maersk ship in front of us be offloading containers of goods. So it's like, oh, okay, well, this is interesting. And then you had to get on a shuttle that took you to the sort of passenger cruise area. And that's where you could do your tours and stuff like that, or go shopping, or just wander into town, or take a taxi, an Uber, a Didi, or a Pulmonia, which is an open air taxi kind of thing. It's almost like a slightly larger golf cart. Seats a maximum of 4 people squished. And we took one, I forget what it was called, but it's like a pickup truck with a bench seat on the back for like along the sides. So the driver in the front and we're on the bench seat in the back. So there's 6 of us. All of us could fit in. There's no seatbelts. You're just holding on, hoping for the best, What was interesting, and I don't know, Chet and Robin, Sea Lake Journeys, if you were watching, when we were there was government protests going on. There were peaceful protests, but there were protests that were blocking the roads. So certain, like the access point to the Malecon on the, what would that be, the north side, you couldn't get into the Malecon. You could walk, but you couldn't drive. And it, midday, it was too hot to walk any great distance because, that thing's like 4 miles long. So if you're going to Mazatlan anytime soon, and I think they specifically planned these protests for the day the cruise ship was going to be in. So just, bear that in mind. Excuse me. So it did mean that we kind of had to rejig our plans, because I was hoping to take all of our group to El Sinaloense to have some wonderful shrimp lunch. And we ended up bailing on that, and we just decided to head back to the ship because we didn't want to get delayed. Of course, we were on a Princess tour, and Princess does guarantee you if there's delays and stuff like that. However, it's important to note they do not guarantee they will wait for you. They will wait for you as long as they possibly can, but if you're delayed too much, then where their guarantee comes in is they will guarantee to get you to the next port. They're not going to teleport you out to the ship. but they will guarantee. So that would have meant they would have flown us from Mazatlan to Puerto Vallarta. But you don't have your stuff. You don't have any medications if you're on those. You don't have a change of clothes. So it's something to be aware of, that, as much as this guarantee is sort of there, it comes with restrictions, right? So yeah, that was an important thing. And I'll talk about the chocolate making class next, or after we go back, and we'll talk about the drinks package. Sorry, just, yeah, is what it is. 'Tis the season, right? Okay, let's talk about the drinks package. So with Princess, with all of them, pretty much the drinks package is up to a maximum of 15 drinks per day. And you might think, whoa, like that's a lot of alcohol. If you're having a mimosa, of course, you're talking like 1 ounce or 2 ounces of champagne. So that's, obviously a much smaller drink. And that's in the plus package, it is any drink up to a value of $15. If you get the Premier Plus package, then it's up to $20. So for example, one day we, I'm not even going to try to find it. I've got a photo. I took a cruise before COVID on Alaska, a cruise on Holland America to Alaska. And on the top deck, they were making Caesars, Bloody Caesars, which are similar to a Bloody Mary, but it's with Clamato juice instead. Skip the clam side of things, just ignore that. It tastes very similar. It's just lighter, in my opinion, instead of that thick, kind of tomato juice sort of feel to it. And it would come with shrimp and I think a piece of cheese and an olive and something else. So I showed one of the bartenders on the Princess ship. I said, hey, can I get a drink like this anywhere? And he's like, oh yeah, sure. Just go down to deck 5. And so sure enough, we go down there, and this guy's got a Caesar making station. If you're interested, so this is on Discovery Princess, at sea days and days where there are late departures, so like Cabo, where we would technically normally get in at noon, this guy is there for a few hours in the morning. And his station included, so he could do mimosas, I think, but he was also doing Bloody Marys and Bloody Caesars. And his accompaniments were, and of course he's making these with Grey Goose vodka. Like, to me, that's just a waste of vodka, because you can just use Absolute or a lower caliber brand for a Caesar. You're not going to taste the quality of the booze too much. With it, he had bacon, cheese, olives, pickled onions. What the heck else did he have? Oh, he had celery, not a big deal to me, and prawns. And so we, all of us had one of those. Those were a little bit more. So they weren't included in our beverage package because they were over $15. So all they did is they charged us the extra $2.83. So that was on our folio. In the past, with the drinks package, it's been very specific. Like, you both, if you're traveling with somebody, you had to be in the same area in order to get 2 drinks. Now it was kind of like pretty wishy-washy, especially if you just would mention what cabin number you were in. And as long as there's 2 people, you could get 2 drinks. So it was pretty flexible that way. But is it worth it to go for the Premier Plus package? It depends on what you're going to be drinking, really. If you are particular about your wine, if you're particular about your liqueurs or any specific drinks that you want, then it's probably worth it. But just depends. But we still had, like, the juice bar was all included. Fancy coffees were all included. And the water by the bottle was all included as well. So you couldn't if you wanted to pre-order a bunch of water for the room, you had to pay stupid amounts for that. I think it was like $24 for six bottles. But if you just went to the bar and said, may I have a glass of a bottle of water, boom, there you go. And you could ask for 6 of them. So yeah, unlimited that way. Okay, moving on. So one last thing that we did is a chocolate making class. We did this in Puerto Vallarta, and it was with Choco Museo, who I've actually done this. We did a truffles and chocolate making workshop on this trip, which I had done the year before. And prior to COVID, I've done the mole making class with them. And in the end, you end up with a sealed jar of mole sauce that you can take home. Plus, you have to make your mole sauce. So as a group, you all make it. You got to toast the coffee beans, toast the cacao nibs, all this kind of stuff. And then you grind everything, you make the sauce, and then you get a whole lunch out of it. You get chicken with rice and stuff like that. It's absolutely delicious. Yeah, the chocolate making class was really good. It was about 2.5 hours, and we ended up with basically 3 boxes of chocolates that we had made to bring home with us. So it was pretty cool. And I'm going to do a separate video because I've got lots of behind the scenes stuff of that. But for, what was it, $60 per person, well worth it, in my opinion. So, but yeah. So that's it. That's kind of a wrap for my whirlwind of 2 weeks worth of traveling to East Coast, West Coast of Cancun of Mexico. It was a crazy trip. I've got lots more videos. I think overall I've got 15 videos, and I think I've only published 4 of them or something. So there's a lot more to come. I've got buffet videos for Dream Sands, Breathless, Seoul, Cancun, Hyatt Vivid. I redid the breakfast video there. They are, by the way, also doing dinner buffet sometimes. That's if they're at higher occupancy, and also if it's inclement weather. So if they've got a bunch of storms running through and they can't open Oishi, the Japanese restaurant upstairs, which still is not it's my least favorite restaurant there. Everybody I spoke to raved about it. So I should have given it another try. It wasn't open the one night that I had a sort of free night. And I wanted to try the Mediterranean because I hadn't tried that before. So I went to the Mediterranean the first night, and then the next night the Italian was open. So I had to go for my cacio e pepe. If I go again, when I go again, I'll definitely give the Japanese another try, because seriously, everybody else loves it. I'm the only one who didn't. So maybe it's a me thing. It could be. But yeah, overall, I had a great time. It was great to see so many places and to be able to share that with you. So I've got, like I said, those videos, Dreams Tulum. I did a breakfast buffet video. And I did a video of the buffet at the Discovery Princess. So you can stay tuned for that and see. I mean, it's massive. Massive, massive, massive. If I compared it, for example, to a Riu, which, Riu resorts have massive buffets, I would say on a cruise ship, it's probably 3 times the size. Easily. Just the food, it takes up like almost half the ship. And the buffet area just goes on for ages and ages and ages. So it's pretty crazy. So let me know if you have any other questions, or if it's easier, pop a question on any of my videos, because I do see whether it's a new comment or if it's a new post comment, or whether it's a comment on something you've already commented on. I will see it, and I will always try to respond. But thank you for tuning in with me today, and thanks for bearing with my stuffed up nose. And yeah, really enjoyed chatting with you about travel and being able to share some of these clips with you. So thanks for tuning in. We're back on next Wednesday, same time, same place, and we'll see where it takes us from there. And I know Angelo has graciously offered to share some of his photos and videos and stuff like that from some of his trips recently. Oh, I totally forgot to tell you guys before you go. So I did see, I drove past Now Emerald. So that was really interesting in Cancun. I stayed there just before it closed, about 6 months before it closed. I did see that. It's totally under construction. I did not get a chance. I forgot, let's be honest. I forgot to ask the folks about the status of it and what's going on with it, but it looks like it's a major, major renovation. The rumors that I had heard were that it was going to be switched out to a Secrets, so upgraded. Now is one of the brands down here similar to Sunscape, and then slightly above that is Hyatt, Hyatt Vivid, and then above that you've got Dreams, Secrets, Breathless, and then above that you've got 𝖳𝗒Лyi𝖾 and like, you know, Secrets, Moshki, and Impressions and stuff like that. Yeah, so it was interesting seeing now Emerald and how that's coming along. And what else did I see? There was one other one that's in the works, but I can't recall the name of it. Okay, and so Bojangles, yeah, thanks for tuning in. And oh, interesting, Deb. Okay, so will they make this rooftop pool? Will they make it Vantage Club only? Here's the thing, and especially, you know, when they know that I do social media and they know that we're in the travel industry and stuff like that, they're very, very specific about their selling points for the property that they want us to convey. Well, pretty much their number one selling point at this property is that it's got the longest rooftop pool in Cancun. And so I've not heard any side comments or rumors, or I'll tell you this is maybe what they're thinking, but please don't say anything. Not a peep about making it Vantage Club. And I really don't think that they will. I don't think they could, because it would be a severe detriment to them. And if you guys are from Hyatt Vivid and you're listening, please don't do it, because it just don't. It would be not good. Because I think you need to have that separation. And also it does create, you know, you've got certain people who they want that view. And then you've got other people who are happier to be downstairs where there's more stuff going on and activities and that. So it really does help to separate those two. As far as the beach club goes, that is still, you know, who knows? Is that going to strictly be for the Vivid side? Is it strictly going to be adults only? So allowing adults to come from the Dream side to the beach club? I don't know. I will say that they've done a really good job of pivoting on some of their stuff. I forget what the thing was that we were talking about, but there was something that they had. It was one of the things that they had in place was I forget what it was, but it was something that they had said, this is how it's going to be. And then they heard lots of feedback. Oh, I know what it was. It was the rooftop DJ thing. So everybody was saying, oh, it's, you know, it's so dead here. It's so quiet. So what they decided is they brought in a DJ and they would have the DJ on the rooftop. So you'd finish dinner at the Asian restaurant on the rooftop, which had music in the background. But then at like 11 o'clock, they would turn that into a sort of disco area. And that's where you had music going on in the evening until like 1 o'clock. Well, what they didn't realize is that anybody who was on the top, this is the rooftop, anybody who's on the floor below it or below that could hear the noise. And so they were complaining about the music's too loud. It's keeping me awake in the middle of the night. And you guys are basically explaining this as being a quiet, relaxing, re-energized kind of resort. And I can't sleep at night. You know, it's a disconnect. So like I said, they pivoted on that. They heard the feedback. They listened. And what they've done is now live music is basically in the Bloom lobby, in the enclosed lobby. They've got one side of the lobby, they have this big long curtain. It's probably 30 by 30 feet. And it comes down and they have projector screens. So that's where you can see Monday Night Football, Sunday afternoon football, sports, that kind of thing, as well as they have live music in there. And that goes from 11 until 1. It's fully enclosed, so it's not going to bother anybody. So yeah, expect more videos from Vivid. Yeah, definitely. I'm just working through them all. So yeah, it's oh, Christine said, Yeah, they're saying it's going to be opening in December. Not a chance. Not a chance. I can assure you of that. It looks from the outside like it's quite complete. And I know even in May when I was there, I was like, yeah, they could get this going. No. Because of the storm, the causeway between the two properties and on the rooftop, they moved all the stuff out of the middle, blocking it so you couldn't go very close to the dream side. So when I went live, I was like, that's where I started off. And then the security guard saw me and he's like, no, this area is closed. And I was like, oh, sorry, okay. But before I started filming, I got to kind of peek around the corner and I could see what was going on. And I think that what they've done is they concentrated on making sure all the construction was fully completed on all floors and stuff like that on the Vivid side. And now on the Dream side, they'll work towards that. So yeah, no, I think March or April is probably a better date to assume that that's when it'll open. So if you book on the Vivid side anytime in the near future, and you really can't hear any noise from the construction anymore, because a lot of the structural stuff I think is all complete. Now it's going to be, inner stuff like doing the software, putting the beds in, all of that kind of stuff. But if you're worried about being next door to a bunch of kids and families and stuff like that, that's not going to happen anytime soon. So I think comfortably you could book it until, I'd say, at least February. I mean, they might push things and get it out for March, but I think you could comfortably book the Vivid side until February and not have to worry about what they're going to do with the families, and are they going to allow them to go to the kids club or the beach club and stuff like that. So yeah. So thanks for tuning in, everybody. I will see you again next week. Hope you have a great week. Hope you have an even better weekend. And we'll see you on the next one. Bye for now.